Thank you, Professor Musia, Vice Principal of the University, Professor Letsosa, Dean of the Faculty of Religion, and his colleagues, and all the other theologians in front of me, friends and families. Please allow me to recognize my wife, Louise, other family and friends, and especially my 95-year-old mother, Rina Jackson. Maar ek is so bly dat ek vandag hier kan wees. Thank you for the opportunity to say a few words. As a journalist, I want to share 4 observations with you. Firstly, how things have changed at this university since I was a first-year student in 1980. Back then, Tukkies was exclusively white, and apart from other languages in language departments, exclusively Afrikaans. I remember a poll done in the student newspaper, Die Parelby, about how students felt about the possible opening up of the university to people of color. Just under 50% of the respondents were against anything of this kind. A small minority felt that perhaps the university could welcome people of color at postgraduate level. A small majority felt that perhaps the university could welcome people of color at postgraduate level or perhaps for after-hour studies. The support for opening for all courses and all classes was much less, and only about 0.5% of the respondents said open up completely, including the residences. One can truly say that the University of Pretoria was back then one of the societal pillars of apartheid. And yet, it was then at the same university that I got into contact with ideas that made me change my mind about apartheid, that made me realize that apartheid can't work and did not offer any future. It came through some of the literature that we studied, through remarks that some of the lecturers made in classes, through students' activities such as debating competitions, through some of the guest speakers that the Students' Council invited for lunch hour talks. And now we are such a colorful group of people together, really an example of what the Rainbow Nation can be. And I must add, without all the conflict that some other universities experience. And if I read the program, then the students come from far outside the borders of South Africa as well. Professor Musia, you and your colleagues run an institution of which we can be very proud. Secondly, how things have changed at the Faculty of Theology as it was known then. You heard the story about the brilliant young student, Christina Landman, who was turned away because she was a woman. And here she is today to receive an honorary doctorate. And we see other females as lecturers in this faculty. The faculty was not, I see Professor Landman's honorary doctorate as a kind of apology, but also as a celebration of how far we have come. The faculty was not only exclusively male, it was also exclusively white, Afrikaans, and Reformed. Now we have a lovely ecumenical mix of students from different traditions that can enrich each other with a cross-pollination of ideas. The faculty nowadays is sometimes unfairly criticized and accused of all kinds of heresies by a small minority of fundamentalist members of some of the churches they serve. I don't see any grounds for these accusations. On the contrary, I think that the young ministers trained by this faculty are some of the best reasons to be optimistic about the future of the church. Professor Letsosa and your colleagues, You really produce excellent young theologians. Thank you for that. Thirdly, I made my career of reporting on churches and theologies, and it was often difficult. I sometimes thought that churches and theologians don't understand journalism. And back at the office, I sometimes felt that journalists don't understand the church or faith or theology. And that lack of understanding from some of my colleagues and bosses at the newspaper increased as secularization of our society increased. And that is an important reason why I am so thankful for the award that I received today. It means someone, more than someone, an institution with the gravitas of the University of Pretoria understands and appreciates what I try to do through my career. Thank you very much for that. And lastly, even though sometimes I felt the two worlds between which I worked did not always understand each other, journalism on the one hand and theology on the other hand, and other academic disciplines as well, have much in common. From both sides, people look at the world, we observe aspects of the world we live in, we try to interpret those observations, and we report on it. The difference is that journalism is much more messy than academic endeavors. We work against very strict deadlines, which means sometimes you have to tell a story before you really had the time to digest it yourself. Academics have much more time to weigh their thoughts, to pick their words, and to tidy up what they write. Their standards for perfection are much higher. And yet, in their different ways, they both try to facilitate understanding. Both sides try to bring clarity of thought to society. And it is exactly at that point where both these pursuits are in trouble, because we came up against the keyboard warrior. People who, without any credentials or facts, can trash the hard work of academics and journalists. We are exposed to conspiracy theories and attitudes like everybody can decide for him or herself what the truth is. I wish I had answers for academics and for journalists. Unfortunately, I don't. This is the challenge we face, and against which we should carry on as best we can with the noble pursuits of academic work and thoughtful journalism. And then we must trust that good will prevail. Isn't that, the trust that good will prevail, what good theology teaches us? As we say in some churches, God is great all the time. All the time, God is great. Thank you very much.